I know there's conversations out there like, oh, we're invading their privacy. However, they're 13, they're 10. It is our duty, not only as parents, but as educators, to make sure that we're giving them sound advice. Some of the things that we do is monitor who they're accepting as friends. The other piece is the location services on these phones. Those are the settings that I make sure that we're checking when our kids are taking photos. We want to make sure that the photos are not providing someone that they don't know location, because you don't know who you're talking to.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media. And we also ask them questions that we get from parents all over the country in our program. Now, let's get back to the interview.
My name is Dr. Frederick Souza. I'm the assistant superintendent here in Dighton, Rehoboth, Massachusetts. We got 5 schools here in the district, and we got approximately 2,600 students from pre-K to 12 plus.
Doctor, it's so great to have you here today as we talk about keeping students safe on social media so they can be wildly successful, not only at home, but in the walls of the district and the schools as they learn, become resilient, make calculated failures so they can go, wow, I've learned that with a safe space, with all these great teachers and trusted adults, so that someday the third step is that they can shine online someday using the very device that we all give them in a really careful way. So I'm excited to have you here on our Superintendent Spotlight addressing parent questions. And this is where we highlight district leader insights like yours on the latest social media safety issues. And we never know what rabbit hole we're going to go down. So I'm excited to have you here. Now, first question, let's hear from you on parent ed. This is what I hear from our 170 to 180 episodes of our other superintendents. Here's my question for you. As districts implement cell phone-free policies, parents are telling us they're left in the dark, begging for strategies they can use to work with their kids at home. What are your suggestions for other districts to increase parent education and also parent engagement around cell phone use?
Well, first and foremost, Josh, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Social media, technology, it's rapidly evolving on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's interesting. You talk about these devices and really, one of these gentlemen I spoke with before, his name is Richard Geary. He talked about handing keys to a car and hopping in the car. And we don't hand kids keys to cars when they're 16 and say, all right, go out and drive. We actually teach them how to drive, right? In order to drive that car, they need to learn. And here we are, we have these devices. And most of us, we hand our kids, our students, these devices, and yet we don't really teach them how to drive these devices. So as a district, we're working really hard to provide our students with information that helps them make really good decisions. So we're bringing in lots of speakers that talk about the stuff that they do online, making sure that they're aware that it is public and permanent, because when they put their digital footprint out there, it's going to stay. It's going to be there. And although we're in a district where we do not ban cell phones, we are a district that has a policy that says our cell phones are off and away all day. And what we hear is parents are often, we want to get in touch with our students, and we get that as a school district. However, the route that we're trying to teach our families is you need your student, please use the office phone. We could get in touch with them. We'll relay the information, because right now, if they're using their phones to connect with their child during school, it's a major distraction, and we're moving away from what we're supposed to do, and that's really educating the child.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And every district who's listening right now, and every parent as well, we're starting to see that not only psychologists, but also therapists, counselors, the school district, and a lot of parents are on board with this. I want my kid to learn as much as possible and socialize in classroom and in the hallway as well, right? We're all seeing this zombie mode where they're looking down at the phones, and I'm not hating on that. I'm merely saying we're seeing that at a younger age. So I love your off and away all day, which we consider probably the best cell phone policy in the world. Do you need pouches? No. Could you have them? Maybe. But off and away all day so the kids can sit there and focus. Absolutely terrific. And I love your digital driver's ed. That's what we call it. We always tell people it starts at 12. They learn how to drive way before they're 16. like, oh, distracted driving and this and that. They see mom and dad modeling that. Then they go, I need to do that. They model what they see, which is so great. So, doctor, my next question that I have for you is it's about social media's impact on teens, which I think is the reason why we're here today and the reason why Smart Social exists. The question is, how are you seeing social media's impact on teens' self esteem, their motivation, the decision making, all of that in your district and on your campuses?
That's a great question. I have not only the educational hat, I also have a dad hat. I have two kids at home. One is 10 years old, one is 13. Both of them are digital natives. And I personally have seen the effects of what social media can do on self esteem, as well as their drive. One little example is I remember my son at an early age, we have him playing the piano. So he's up, he's playing the piano, and he's really good. But he asked us to video it. And not only did he ask us to videotape his piano playing, he wanted us to post it online to see how many likes he would receive. So think about this. At a very early age, I have my son who's already recognizing a world in which likes and loves and sharing exists and the impact on his motivation. It's really sort of scary in a way. So I've
Yeah.
seen that impact. I've also seen the impact now. My daughter is getting to an age where she's out in middle school. She wants to be with her friends. And we notice there's lots of group chats going on. Kids at that age, we know they can be not so nice at times. And we see that impact here. Most of our behaviors, believe it or not, in schools, or actually you can believe it comes from social media. It comes from the outside. Will in our offices are constantly, this person posted this person posted that. Now let's think of another example. Like I remember, and a lot of people use this example, when I was in school, I could go in the lunch line, I'd pick up my tray of food, potentially I drop the tray in front of everyone. Yep, everyone laughs. But guess what? I would go home, I'd go to bed, I'd go back to school, everyone's forgot about it. Today, this happens and someone captures it on video. They post it online and now it's replicated and continuing. So I can't get away from something like that because people continue the cycle, continue to post. And it's really, really dangerous. And we see the effects of that ongoing daily in our schools. And so those are the reasons why we want those phones off and away, because it's really a trap. And we're not doing our kids any service by allowing that.
Wow, you said something really great. It's really a trap. Yeah, absolutely. Imagine that you and I are both 14 or whatever age, and we're sitting at lunch. It's very different nowadays, like how you would behave if phones are out. Like you're always worried that somebody might record something. You're always on, which is so scary. But I love how you say it is a trap. It seems fun, and then it just changes our behavior, sucks the kids in. How long have you had this, your off and away all day policy? And the follow-up question is, did you notice at lunchtime on some of the campuses, you've heard your principals say they're kind of socializing again?
Well, it's funny that you say that because, prior to like the off and away, and you mentioned it earlier, the zombie effect, right? So phone out, head down, and you
Yeah.
see kids walking through the halls. No one's communicating with each other and no one's socializing. And that's another factor of this, like how to interact one-on-one in person. That's something that we really need to bring back. So the off and away policy, yeah, brings us back to like interacting face to face. It's funny, you could see these when they had the phones out at lunch, they're texting each other from across the table as
Yeah.
opposed to like, let's have a conversation. Let's be present in the moment and enjoy
Mhm.
company as opposed to like scrolling, seeing what's going on, texting. It's really fascinating. But we have seen our students pick up in conversation, heads are up, eye contact. Those are the things that we're missing in life lately.
Yeah, agreed. That's so interesting. Okay, for all of our listeners out here right now, parents are also asking us. Smart Social reaches millions of people a year with our live incredible events. And as one of the top social media safety speakers in the country pre COVID, I used to fly around to different events to create parent engagement around these important things. Now we're able to do it virtually for the whole world to see. Parents are asking us, Josh, what advice would you give a student to help them recognize some of the red flags of a dangerous stranger? Such a good question. Let's hear from a student right now about how she might help a friend recognize red flags.
If I had a friend talking online to a stranger, I think that I would feel a little bit uncomfortable with the whole situation. I would advise against it because so many indirect issues can come from that, and it could cause something to be worse than if they had just unadded them in the first place. Some red flags that I would have to advise them to cut it off with this person or to stop engaging would be if the person starts to get very involved in their personal life and they seem to be very intrigued in what's going on with them and wanting to know all little details about what they do and who they are, and just very personal details and things that you wouldn't normally share with a stranger in real life. If they're very persistent and constantly wanting to talk to my friend or constantly trying to be involved in their life or wanting to speak to them, I feel like that's kind of a red flag. Another thing would be if they ask them to ever meet them anywhere in person right from the start, if they feel a sense of being uncomfortable or their intuition is just saying it's wrong, or if my intuition is saying something feels wrong with this, then I think that's a major red flag.
Parents, this is one of the many videos that are in our live amazing evening events. Your school district may be a partner, and I'm going to show you just real quick. There's lots of live events we have on lots of different topics. We even have ones dedicated in Espanol. So if you have community members who are dominant in Spanish, these incredible events are attracting thousands of people. And we have an on-demand instant replay in any flavor you want it. So in the past, you could watch Avoiding Strangers, Disappearing Messages, Optimizing Parental Controls. These are world-class programs that take dozens of people a long time to create. And we do these weekly live parent events. Parents, those of you watching right now, your district is probably a partner. So join one of them, get one of our free giveaways and all these things. There's real teens in the program, as you can see right there in the middle. And you get put in our amazing parent newsletter that parents are raving about because they can forward it to friends. And again, this is what it should look like at the end of a month. Here's another district that saw some amazing success.
Many kids as young as 10 years old will be unwrapping a cell phone for Christmas, but one school district is offering parents a gift this year, a tool to help them protect their kids using their cell phones.
It's really about safety. It's about safety of our learners.
Right now, College Community says about 400 parents are using the platform smartsocial.com that's covered by the district's general funding. The hope is to partner with parents so they're able to keep their kids safe.
There's this tool that they didn't grow up with, or they grew up with, maybe one or two apps on that tool. And now their students are living in this world. We just believe that, protecting students is not just confined to the 7-hour school day. Their safety is important to us beyond that.
Smart Social's founder, Josh Oakes, says he's been speaking about safety tips at schools across dozens of states, now reaching even more families by hosting live online Q&As and providing parents pointers. The goal, preventing potentially dangerous situations like chatting with strangers and cyberbullying.
You won't be there for them forever. We want to make sure they're resilient and awesome using these new tools, and that they come to you when they need you, and that they make wise decisions when you're not around.
College Community says parents have been giving positive feedback about the program as it continues.
Okay, parents, so as you attend these events, incidents are going down. We're seeing that nationwide with a lot of trends. And don't forget that every single month, there's major new tips that we provide, all these different things. You can watch last month's replay. No one is left behind. And we hope you'll join us for this program. Okay, we're back over to our guest. Doctor, I want to hear from you on probably one of the biggest events that we have. It's called Avoiding Strangers and Dangerous Situations Online. And we all know this is the worry. This is the problem. Yeah, there's behavioral, there's positive outcomes, but this is the one I think that keeps me up at night the most. So, doctor, what is your advice to parents and students? I want you to put the educator hat on and the dad hat, as you said, your words, I love that phrase, to avoid talking to strangers and avoiding dangerous situations online.
I think what we need to do is focus on family, focus on conversation, and make it a dinner time conversational piece where we're consistently having those conversations about safety, about the apps that like our kids are choosing to use. One of the things that I've implemented in our household is we happen to be a household of iPhones, so we happen to use the screen time. I allow certain apps. My wife does a fantastic job. She's really the person that checks into, like for my daughter, the group chats that are going on. That's really critical. And I know there's conversations out there like, oh, we're invading their privacy. However, they're 13, they're 10. It is our duty, not only as parents, but as educators, to make sure that we're giving them sound advice. As far as strangers and talking to strangers, some of the things that we do is monitor who they're accepting as friends. And that is important because we don't want my daughter or my son to be chatting with, especially in the gaming world, because that's out there too, people that we don't necessarily know. And so we're working with their friends to get their usernames to connect our kids together if it comes a time where we want to connect them through social media. The other piece is the location services on these phones. Those are the settings that I make sure that we're checking when our kids are taking photos. If you don't check off the location settings, what's happening, they're posting photos. And you could get that like metadata of that geolocation. So if they were to send photos out to a friend, I want to make sure that the photos are not providing someone that they don't know location, because you don't know who you're talking to. And so we continuously have those conversations with our kids.
Yeah, so well said. I was on the news many, many years ago in Kansas, and they asked me something, doctor, that I was really afraid the way I answered. And I answered it the right way, but I was like, oh no, am I going to get in big trouble? And here's how I answered it. They said, do you think parents are responsible for their children's online behaviors on their phone? And I said the right thing, but I got scared. And let me tell all our listeners a vulnerability. And I was right, but I'm rooting for every parent here. Smart Social's rooting for you. I said, absolutely. Every parent, if they have a 14-year-old, as you, a 13-year-old, doctor, they're absolutely responsible, and they can be held accountable for the online behaviors of their kiddos with their doing pranks online and stuff. And at the same point, then they interviewed an 8th grader right after me. And the kid said, yeah, I'm in 8th grade. I could totally make a huge mistake. My mom needs to look through my phone. And I went, oh, Lord bless you. Thank you, kid, because you made me look good. That child was mature enough, and their parents are mature enough to go, you can make bad mistakes that hurt mom and dad, but also there's bad people out there who want to hurt you. So parents, if you're listening to this right now, the doctor is 100% right. I would argue there is very little privacy any kid under 18 should be having online when they're chatting with anyone other than anyone in your home. And I'm going to sound like, oh, that guy is so difficult. No, loving your child and being a difficult parent is more important than having them like you. Like, oh, they have privacy. There are bad people out there who want to chat with your kiddo, and they hope that you'll go, oh yeah, they have privacy, because they're trying to groom your child to make them like the bad person more. So Josh and the Smart Social team care about you listening right now. We want you to know it's okay if your kids are upset with you once a week, once a month about a screen time feature that you pulled back to say, we're online too much, or I need to check your phone now. And we understand it's difficult. That's why we're here for you. That's why we're hosting the doctor today. Doctor, I agree with you 100%. Did I get it wrong? Please set me straight.
No, you're 100%. On numerous occasions, my daughter has put out a post, and if she watches this, I love you. We've had to self-correct, right? Nope, that's not appropriate. And by no means were they appropriate, but it's over the line. You're sharing things that you don't need to share. And
Yeah.
again, we try to model that behavior as well as parents and as we post as well. I don't believe we know the ramifications of this generation. We're now kind of starting to get into colleges, careers where they're scrubbing social media footprints.
Yeah.
And if you do make a mistake, I can't tell you what the impacts of that are going to be if a college or a career uncover that years down the road. So it's those are the things that, like you, keep me up at night.
Yeah. And you just brought up an interesting idea. We talk a lot in your realm of the world and my realm of the world. This is digital driving, and we have to model good driving before you get the keys. And then we're teaching you between 15 and 16. There's a learner's permit in California, and maybe nationwide. You get to drive with a trusted person. They have to sit in the passenger seat, and you're going slow. There's no kids in the back seat. There's no passengers other than that. But I just wrote something down. Posting's a lot like parking. Let's say your daughter makes a mistake. Hey, the way you parked between the lines, you were over the line a little. And we got rules. We got to remember, we have some rules here. let's try and repark that car. Let's delete that one. How about we post it better without all those, whatever hand signs and your friends sticking their tongue out. You think
Yeah.
we could park a little better? And I think that, Doctor, you're being a great dad by going, how about we take that down? What are the ramifications, right? And can we park better? It's not you failed. It's we just got to improve over time. Now, I do not want anyone to ever buy my book. Don't buy my book, but I'm going to give you everything you need to know from the top. It's called Light, Bright, and Polite. Everybody watching this has seen me for the last 13 years, changing kids' lives. And light means, is it positive? And bright means, are you going to lose? Is this smart? Think first. Are you going to lose your job even before you ever start your day job? You just got the offer and people are getting fired just because of something they posted last week or that day because they announce it. And polite, are you proud of it ending up on a billboard or changing your Google results for 5 years? Which it can, absolutely. Parents, please remember that. Talk to your kids about that. So important. Let's move into the next one, which is all about being light, bright, and polite. This is what we call shining online. And parents, you know this. Smart Social first wants your kids to be safe. Second, be successful in school. And we want them to make calculated mistakes. Maybe they'd make a blunder here and do this, just like the doctor said. With your kids, helping them park better. I think that's a great analogy. I love the parking. You're going to park wrong a few times. You might even bump into the curb. Okay, that's fine. Parallel parking is not easy. Second, we call it shining online. And I want everyone to listen to this. We're taking a hard line here. We agree with Australia. Your kids can get a phone in elementary and middle. If you're in a co-parenting environment, you want to know where your kids are at, we understand. We love you. We support you. But social media, that conversation should happen immediately when you get the phone. And we suggest professionally to delay it till the age of 16. What? Yes, that's right. Your kids are probably going to hate you for a couple years, but they will thank you when they're 25. They'll go, you know what? I kind of am a little bit better. That kid's over there in the corner doesn't know how to talk to people at this event. And here I am socializing and so on. Your kids will thank you someday, but delay that as long as you can. Be on it with them as well. Doctor, my question for you is, what advice do you have for parents and students to help students use social media in a positive way so they can get that best job and that best career, the college opportunities, and there's less of a chance of them ever needing to clean up their social media because they're kind of proud of all the projects they put on there with parents' permission and guidance?
Yeah, that's a great question. One way to look at social media could be as a form of portfolio for our kids, getting out there, posting the community service hours that they're doing. I'm seeing a lot more research via social media. These colleges or researchers are doing lots of studies. They're posting their findings. So get out there and start following some academics. We've done a lot of work. I know when I was going for my doctoral degree, we used social media to kind of look at some of the themes that we were coding. And that was one way to kind of see what kind of research was out there. But I really do think what we need to do as an educational institution and as parents is, stay on top of what our kids are posting and how they're using social media. So for me, my advice to parents, let's use social media. Let's use it wisely. Use it as an opportunity to build a portfolio. So when colleges, careers are looking at your collective work, they're going to see all of the good things, the accomplishments, the research, the community engagement that you're posting and you're proud of. I think if we use it and harness it in that way, you're going to see some positive results in the long run.
I love that. I think those are all such pro tips. Superintendent, I want to thank you for coming out today. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having me, Josh. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. For all of our listeners, watchers, whether you are a superintendent, a district leader, or a principal, or our favorite, the parents here and the guardians, for you grandparents that are raising kids, we absolutely love you. We're cheering for you. We have incredible live events. If your district's a partner, we want to get you out. They're about 45 minutes and they're carefully produced. People are saying, boy, did that fly by. I learned so much. I got dialogue starters for my kids. I seem a little more cool because you got me into my kid's head and I can ask a way that's a lot less uncool, Josh. I kind of feel like they opened up. Parents, come to our stuff, use our resources. We're reaching millions of parents. We care about your family. We do not ever want you to be left behind, no matter whether it's English, Espanol, Mandarin. We've got lots of languages, dozens of people here at Smart Social that care about your best interests and care about you being a difficult parent that loves their kids more than likes their kids. I know that sounds weird, but you're going to have a few difficult conversations and frustrations. Here at Smart Social, we support you along the way. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. And as always, again, don't buy the book. Just use the phrase copyrighted. Whenever you're doing stuff online, remember your kids are watching. So remember to keep it light, bright, and polite so you're modeling awesome behavior for them. We'll see you all very soon on the next episode. Have a great day. Take care. Thanks for listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. Smart Social helps parents understand technology and social media to keep their kids safe and successful. Be sure to join one of our weekly online live events to become the smartest parent on the block so you can keep your kids safe and protect their future. Also, don't miss our 450 plus online resources and replays you can watch on demand in multiple languages. Are you a school district wanting to unlock these resources for your parents? Reach out to us so we can protect your whole community each week. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next episode.